As you may know, Romania joined Germany in Operation Barbarossa. Earlier, Romania had signed the Triparte Pact, but did this automatically mean that Romania had to take part in this operation? What were Romania's reasons to join Germany's crusade to the east? Keep watching. Hey, good to have you back on the channel. If you're new, I'm Stefan, I'm a history teacher from the Netherlands, and I'm hustling history for you. And if you find it interesting, well, consider subscribing. Also hit that notification bell so you will become part of the hustle. Let's start. Romania joined the side of the Entente during the First World War, was defeated but rejoined towards the end of 1918 and thus belonged to the winning team. During the Russian Civil War and the Romanian-Hungarian War, Romania was able to seize control over Bessarabia and Transylvania. The enlarged Romanian state, Romania Mare, Great Romania, encompassed virtually all ethnic Romanians. It also included, however, significant Slav, German, Hungarian and Bulgarian minorities. During the interwar years, France backed the so-called Little Entente, which was created in 1921 and consisted of Romania, Czechoslovakia, and the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes from 1929, known as the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. The goal was to keep Austria and Hungary in check. The alliance lasted till the end of the 1930s. Czechoslovakia was dismembered, and by 1940 France had fallen. And it was then that three of Romania's neighboring countries claimed territories from Romania. First, the USSR. In 1939, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, and this gave Stalin a free hand in Eastern Europe. Romania was pressured to cede Northern Bukovina and Bessarabia to the Soviets. Then there was the Second Vienna Award, where Romania lost Northern Transylvania to the Hungarians. And Bulgaria got Southern Dobruja. All in all, Romania lost 33% of its interwar landmass and population. Due to these territorial losses, autocratic King Carol was forced to abdicate on the 6th of September. His son, now King Mihai, was in theory the new head of state, as a nationalist government was established. On the 23rd of November 1940, Romania formally joined the Axis. What was left of Romania had to rely on Germany in order to survive. In January 1941, a coup d'etat occurred in Romania, which was carried out by the extremist movement, the Iron Guard. Now, this revolt was crushed by Romanian General Ion Antonescu. Hitler favored Antonescu over the Iron Guard, which he saw as a bunch of undisciplined goons. When Antonescu met Hitler in the end of 1940, Hitler was impressed by the Romanian general. The Führer's personal regard for Antonescu contrasted sharply with the reservations he had for the bombastic and military inexperienced Mussolini. Yet, behind this respect for the Romanian leader lay a more pragmatic assessment, expressed by Hermann Göring. One must be very cautious with Antonescu. He is quite a stubborn mule, but the only one in Romania who sticks to a pro-German line. When Antonescu met Hitler again on the 12th of June 1941, which was 10 days prior to the start of Operation Barbarossa, Antonescu pledged his support to Hitler's invasion to the USSR. He declared the people of Romania were willing to march unto death alongside the other Axis powers. Romania would bind its fate to that of Germany because of economic and political reasons. Both nations saw the USSR as a common enemy. Antonescu vowed that the Soviet Union needed to be dealt with, and the sooner the better. Revenge for the lost territories was not the only motive. Just like Germany, Antonescu saw Bolshevism as a threat. An important element was that of religion. The infidel communists were seen as the enemy of religion. Romania would join Germany's invasion of the USSR without any declaration of war. Romanian forces were assigned the task of protecting the right flank of Army Group South. These forces were part of a separate army group, of which Antonescu was nominally in command. The Romanian Third Army was under command of General Petre Dumitrescu, and the Fourth under General Nicolae Ciuperca. In reality, these armies took its orders from the German 11th Army commander, Eugen von Schobert. On the 22nd of June 1941, Operation Barbarossa started. Romania was now at war with the Soviet Union. The Romanian Guard Division, which was the only unit in the Romanian Fourth Army that was well prepared by the Germans, established a bridgehead at Valsiu. That day, one German and two Romanian divisions secured a bridgehead at Sculeni and managed to repulse a Soviet counterattack. Next, Operation München was launched with its aim to break out of the bridgehead and move southeast. In the south, the Romanian Fourth Army moved towards Chisinau, but Soviet troops halted them for a while. Next month, mid-July, the Romanians finally took the city. Towards the end of that month, the Romanians had secured their lost territories of Northern Bukovina and Bessarabia from the Soviets. And Antonescu wrote in a letter to Hitler the following: I confirm that I will pursue operations in the East to the end against that great enemy of civilization, of Europe, and of my country, Russian Bolshevism. Therefore, I have no conditions, and I will not be swayed by anyone not to extend this military cooperation into new territory. The Romanian public saw the recapture of Northern Bukovina and Bessarabia as legitimate war aims. It cost the Romanians 4,112 dead, 12,120 wounded, and 5,506 missing. Yet, within the Romanian government, there were critical voices that urged Antonescu not to advance further into the Soviet Union. Antonescu did not listen to this. He was a military man, and the only way to secure the recaptured territories was to defeat the USSR and therefore advance further into the Soviet Union. Once the Soviet Union was defeated, Romania would turn to Hungary to recapture Northern Transylvania, despite Hungary being an Axis power as well. And here we get to the core of Romania's World War II policy, as is written by Max Axworthy in his book Third Axis, Fourth Ally. Romania's war was not Germany's war. In the Second World War, Romania had limited objectives of its own. The recovery of the four territories containing about a third of the country's pre-war area, population and natural resources lost in 1940. The problem was that these territories were lost to both Axis and Allied powers as a consequence of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. Antonescu attacked the Soviet Union to recover Bessarabia and Northern Bukovina in 1941, primarily because this was the first opportunity to present itself. But Transylvania was closest to Romanian hearts and always remained the ultimate goal. Eventually, in 1944, Bessarabia and Northern Bukovina were retaken by the Soviets, and it was then that Romania switched sides and was able to recapture Northern Transylvania. The Hungarians lost the territory because they failed to defect to the Allies and were forced by the Germans to fight till the end. Till this day, Transylvania is part of Romania, to the dismay of many Hungarians. In the summer of 1941, Romania's forces continued their advance in Soviet territory. The Romanian armies would advance to Odessa, which was taken after a bloody siege in October. Antonescu declared Odessa the capital of the Transnistria Governorate. This region would become a graveyard for well over 200,000 Jews and 20,000 Roma. The Stalingrad disaster was also a disaster for Romania. Between November 1942 and January 1943, around 150,000 Romanian soldiers were killed in action, wounded in action, or missing in action. Most of the latter taken as POWs. Romania would eventually switch sides as Antonescu was overthrown and executed. After the war, the Romanian army would fight on the side of the Allies, mostly in Hungary and Czechoslovakia. Therefore, Romania again emerged as a victorious nation after the war, although as a consequence of being in the Soviet sphere of influence, Romania would see communist rule for decades to come. Shout out to my patrons, special thanks to Thomas Zabiega, Liam Devlin, Damian Wallace, Connor, Philip Jordan, Jakob Musland, Nick Turanova, Haley, Mark Little Hill, Janusz Jojankiewicz, Joanne, Justin Tabell, Tanya Dixie, Henry Clarkson, Rob Park, Andrea Martic, Susanna Di Bella, John Beach, Wayback History, Luis Pichera, Fernando Lopez Ojeda, and Mike West. If you have $1 to spare, please go to my Patreon or PayPal page. The links are in the description. If you like to learn about Romanian history, well, I have a playlist for you. It's right here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and pa!